since we're talking about Zenaida, was there a time right around before the 15th, I think it might have been July 8th, when you saw Casey out with a new boyfriend of hers?
July 5th.
Okay. And how do you remember that it was July 5th?
Just the day after the 4th of July.
Right, okay. Where did you see her?
Buffalo Wild Wings at Waterford Lakes.
And who else was there?
There was lots of people there. We were watching the UFC fight.
Okay. And she showed up without Kaylee?
Yes.
And who was she with?
Tony.
And is it Lazaro or whatever you
Tony?
Used him as Tony.
Tony. Mm-hmm.
And was that the first time you met him?
Yes.
Did she introduce him as her boyfriend?
Yes.
And did she tell you on that date, July 5th, where Kaylee was?
She said that she was at the beach.
Okay. And did she say with whom?
The nanny.
And did she say anything else besides that?
No, I asked her about, because my dad had seen her a few days before, a week before, at a liquor store, and she was with a couple friends. My dad didn't recognize the friends, but recognized her. Didn't say anything to Casey. Didn't see Kaylee. My dad, I asked her about that, excuse me, and she said that, she got baffled at the fact that I asked that my father, I asked her, was Kaylee with her? She said, no, of course I didn't bring Kaylee to the liquor store with me.
Right. Casey got baffled.
Yes, Casey.
That you asked her about that. Why did you ask her? Was there a reason?
I just said, my dad said he ran into you.
Okay.
He saw you, but he didn't say anything. I was just making conversation. I hadn't seen her in a while.
Gotcha. Okay. So, right around this time, around the 5th, though, did you ever come to find out or get a message from Lee or anybody else?
Yes, Lee sent me a message on MySpace maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks before that. Sometime between the beginning of June and then the middle of July, that they hadn't seen Casey or Kaylee, and their parents hadn't seen Casey or Kaylee, hadn't really heard from them, wanted to make sure everything was okay, asked if I heard from her, if she was staying with me, and I text messaged Casey immediately asking if everything was okay, and she said, yeah, everything's fine.
Okay, and she said she sent you back a text?
Yes.
Right. And do you remember what she said, what the text said?
Not word for word, but the gist of it was that everything's okay, everything's fine, we're fine, Kaylee's fine, my parents are crazy. I talk to them all the time.
And so then, do you know if your father had seen her subsequent to you getting that message?
I don't know when it was that my dad saw her. He just got back from a trip. But when that message I got on MySpace was, and when my dad saw her, I don't.
Okay. When you saw Casey at Buffalo Wild Wings around the 5th, and she said that Kaylee was at the beach, did you mention the Lee message at that point, or did she bring it up the fact that you had texted her?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think she brought it up.
In your mind, you thought that she was telling the truth,
yes.
And that her daughter was at the beach,
yes,
and all
sir.
that. Okay. Did she say anything more at that point about the nanny, whether this was who this person was or any identity of the nanny
sir.
At that point? And out of that group of friends that were there at Buffalo Wild Wings, did any of you guys subsequent to when Casey went in jail, did you guys talk again about that meeting and what she might have said to one of them?
I think we all always asked, where's Kaylee? How's Kaylee? And she always told us she's fine.
And would say that she was somewhere else, or
the beach, or a theme park, or just at the nanny's.
Okay. Now, during this time period, around July 5th, did you still have the impression then that she had this dream job and was still working?
Yes.
All right, and obviously now come to find out that was not true. Okay. Oh, yeah. Good point. When you saw her at Buffalo Wild Wings, did Casey appear to be, under duress or acting any differently when you saw her?
Absolutely not.
Okay, describe for me how she was, her demeanor.
Happy-go-lucky. I think nothing was wrong.
Did you were able to see if she was drinking or not? Or when you were at the Buffalo Wild Wings?
I think she might have had a couple drinks, but not. Maybe two.
Mm-hmm. Did she appear, her demeanor, the way she acted, any different than she had back when you guys were hanging out more?
Not at all.
As you said, happy-go-lucky, like
yes,
nothing was wrong. Okay. Was that the only time between the time you got that message from Lee and then when she, July 15th, let's say, was that the only time you saw her?
On July 5th,
Yes.
to my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And how about other IMs or text messages during that time period, if you
Not
remember?
really. Not really. At that point, we really weren't that close anymore.
Right. 'Cause
We
you
saw each other. We saw each other, randomly. I'd seen her at a party in May, but that's it.
Right. You weren't as close because I guess you weren't dating the same people that you had been dating before, or?
She was dating a new guy, was hanging out with them a lot.
Okay. And do you know if that was the guy that showed up the Wild Wings?
No, it's not the same person.
Do you know who it was?
Ricardo Morales.
Are you friendly with him, or do you know him?
We used to work together.
Have the two of you ever discussed where Kaylee was during this time period, or any of those things?
When everything first happened, yeah, we talked about it because both of us were baffled. We couldn't believe that this person we thought we knew was lying to us about basically everything. We discussed that. He had said he was very upset because she had stayed the night. Casey and Kaylee had stayed the night at his house sometime in early June. I don't remember exactly the date he had said. Then he was upset about that because he's like, what if that was the last time anybody saw Kaylee alive? So he was very upset about that. But other than that, no.
And did he ever say to you anything about a nanny or Zanny, the nanny, anything like that?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think I remember.
So after Lee sends you the message, did you ever reply to Lee?
Yeah, I told him, I just looked at Casey, she said everything's fine.
And,
Short and sweet.
right, was that basically the last of that series of
Yes.
conversations between you and Lee?
Yes.
So then after the 5th, after Buffalo Wild Wings, how long was everybody there? Was during the duration of the fight?
Yeah, we got there pretty early, I would say between 7, 7:30. And I think I went out afterwards, so I think I want to say I left 11, 11:30-ish, maybe even 12.
Right, was she still there, do you remember?
I do believe she was.
With Tony.
Tony.
And that was the first time, I guess, you had talked to Tony or met Tony.
I didn't even really talk to him.
All right. Have you subsequently talked to him or
No,
seen
sir.
him around or anything
No,
like
sir.
that? All right. I'm going to get to July 15th in just a moment here, but I want to kind of backtrack a little bit before we get into July 15th forward, okay?
Okay.
So kind of to orient you. Did you ever observe any tension or fights between Casey and Cindy, ever?
Before July 15th?
Sure.
I
Going
never
back.
observed them, no.
Okay.
Casey would call me upset. My mom this, my mom that, my dad this, my dad that. I mean,
What kind of stuff with her mom were there issues concerning Kaylee specifically?
the biggest one was on her second birthday.
Tell me about that.
Kaylee was, opening her presents, and Cindy was doing a lot of the work for her, and Casey got upset. We had a discussion about it. She was upset that Cindy was, helping Kaylee, and when it was Casey's daughter, Casey wanted to be the one helping.
Right. And did you say that was an issue between the two of them, or a problem?
I think that it was an ongoing battle with the two of them.
Because you said during that time period would have been the time she would have confided in you.
Yes.
So were there times when she would either call you or email you and vent about that situation?
Absolutely.
And when you say the ongoing battle, I just want to be a little more specific. Describe for me. what you mean.
She'd called me before about it. My mom, I can't. I remember her second birthday specifically.
Okay.
Because there's videos of it, there's pictures of it. But it's anything specific, any dates, any times as to when she'd called saying they had problems. I just remember her talking about it.
And when you say that the problems, was it that ongoing thing about Cindy being more either involved or trying to be more of the mom?
Trying to be more of the mom.
Okay, and that was something that was upsetting to Casey.
To Casey, yes.